I'm loving it. This is my 5th time to Japan, and I mean, I loved it the first time, but I like it more each time. At first, it's so different, and it's kind of so alien. I feel a lot more oddly relaxed this time. I'm very excited to visit Mr. Osaka's shop. I've seen the videos that Yuji has made of him on YouTube, and he seems like a very interesting person, but also I think he has the same taste in toys that I do, and he obviously finds these extraordinary things, so I'm really looking forward to that. This is Chip Kid. We're in the Nakano station in Tokyo, subway station. We just got out. We're going to go to Nakano Broadway, and I'm going to meet with Mr. Kosaka, toy dealer. I'm going to show him some original art. He's going to show me some toys, and we'll see what we can do. I'm really excited about it.
Konnichiwa. いらっしゃいませ.
Here at Nakano Broadway to meet Mr. Kosaka.
Welcome.
Very nice to meet you. Very exciting to be here. You know, and Nakano Broadway is this whole other world, which is sort of crazy and fascinating. The shop, it's very small and it's very cramped. It's an amazing, unforgettable visual experience. But if you're claustrophobic, I think you go out of your mind very quickly. I really appreciated the effort that he made to bring all of the Batman stuff in, because I understand it's not there all the time. So he brought it all in, but it's so incredibly crammed. So much is crammed into such a small amount of space. In that sense, I suppose it's kind of a metaphor for Tokyo itself, but that's a whole other thing. I mean, he was really gracious in just letting me poke around for hours, which I did. It would have been easier to see all this material more spread out. It would be a cell from a cartoon, Super Friends, but this is some strange version of Batman that... On the one hand, I really didn't know what I was looking for. I suspected I was going to be surprised. I mean, I feel really fortunate in that I have a lot of the key pieces already, which are the tin plate robots, and I was pleasantly surprised to see pretty much everything I got I've never seen before, except for one thing, which was this paper bag featuring Batman by Kawada, which I believe was it was some premium from either Shonen Gaho or Shonen King. I had seen that in somebody else's collection once. Other than that, everything I've got I've never seen before, and was totally delighted by it. I don't feel like I missed out on anything. There were several cars, plastic cars. One was a red car with a little Batman in it. The other was, I think, also red. It was in a package with the... And I know of those two pieces, and I know that they're, you know, as on the relative scheme of things, they're very high-end and a lot of money. There's something about them that doesn't thrill me. It's hard to explain, but the other stuff that I did get totally thrills me. Wow.
Kagome.
Yeah, I love these. These are really great.
Very rare.
There were a couple of things that were tempting, but because they were either unlicensed or I cap my Japanese Batman toys in the 60s. So there were a couple things that I wasn't quite sure about, and then I asked Mr. Kosaka, and he said, no, that's from the 70s. And then that's where I decided, because there were so many things that interested me that I liked, that you have to start like prioritizing. And so I thought, all right, that particular thing looks cool, but because it's from the 70s, I'm going to pass on it, because I am a great believer in a focused collection. it appeals to me more. So, I didn't like walk away with any like huge regrets about, I wish I would have been able to afford this or that or what have you. I felt really, really good about what I was able to find, and I thought he was very gracious, and because I know he loves all these things, and so it's hard for him to part with them too.
チップさん、今日はなんか素敵なものを披露してくれるみたいで。
So this is the entire 54-page story in two parts. It's called the Burglar Contest.
簡単に原画なんか手に入らないんですよ、普通は。ね、よくたくさん持ってますね。
But it is unusual. Like, I haven't seen his original art available anywhere else for sale. I wouldn't really want it to go onto the secondary market. Like this, which also might not be of interest to him. 1940s? This Joker art? Like, if this was from the 40s, this would be, but it's clearly not. I didn't think it was 70s. I thought it could be 60s.
I've been interested in the Japanese Batman toys from the 60s for quite some time because it's like discovering a whole world of things that I love that I didn't know existed. I've been a Batman fan since I was 2. I was a little kid when the first huge wave of Batman toys arrived in the States in in 66 and beyond that. But it wasn't until much later, like when I was in my early 20s, that I discovered that all of these toys were being made in Japan at the same time, and it's just kind of a delightful shock because some of them are official and licensed, and a lot of them are not, and the design sense is fascinating, and I've been, it's why I put the book Bat Manga together, because it's this kind of beautiful cultural, not clash, but intersection of the West as interpreted by the East, and if you're a Batman fan, it's truly amazing because it kind of flared up and existed for a couple of years, and then it flared down, and people, it was hugely popular for a very brief time. It's like discovering a new world of toys that you collect that you didn't know existed. I would like to do Bat Manga 2. It's difficult because, and it's all a kind of logistics problem, sort of, because after doing Bat Manga 1, there was basically a regime change at DC Comics and DC Entertainment. So all of the first book was done licensing all of that stuff from DC Comics. So it was all legit. The book is a legit thing. It's not, it's not unauthorized. However, the editorial focus now at DC Comics since then is much less interested in those kinds of books. So I wouldn't rule it out. It was a lot of work to get the first book done, even with their cooperation. I still would like to get the Super Manga book made. That's personally a higher priority than Bat Manga 2 right now. We have an oral agreement with DC Entertainment to do it, but I need to keep pushing, and it's been like 10 years now trying to get that done. So we'll see. But there's definitely enough material for it. The interesting thing about it is that it all appeared in Japan a good 10 years earlier than Bat Manga, so it's material from the mid 50s to the late 50s into the very early 60s. And part of that phenomenon was in post-war Japan, one of the first TV series to be exported to Japan was The Adventures of Superman, which very weirdly became very popular. The psychology of that is very strange to me because it's like Hail the Conquering Hero or something. literally, because Superman is so America. But you know, there were manga stories, there were paper collectibles. It's really interesting and beautiful stuff. I had a great time. It was amazing to see all that stuff. I got some great stuff that will become part of my permanent collection. It was very interesting, but boy, it's a tight squeeze.
今日はどうもありがとうございました。
ありがとう。
またお会いしましょう。